Let us explore Naropa's fourth yoga, Phowa, the transference of consciousness. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. Now I'm going to clean up my desktop here. Let's close this and this. Whoops, and that. We're going to cover material that most likely is new to you. Questions will occur. When they do, don't be shy. Type them in the chat area and I'll be glad to answer them. And while you're at it, why don't you type something in the chat area right now just to say hello and let me know what you feel your greatest needs are this evening. If at any point during tonight's class you have a question and you are profoundly extroverted and wish to ask me your question face to face and in real time, then find the link in the description area below the video and go to the Instagram simulcast, push the request button, and if I catch it out of the corner of my eye and I push the button on my end, you'll be able to ask me your question. Now, if I don't notice that, it's simple. Just opt out of the Instagram live stream and then go back in and then push the button again. Because when you push your button, the button appears on my side only for a few seconds, then it goes away. I know it's kind of lame, but it's better than nothing. Now, of course, not everyone's extroverted, and most people are quite happy to ask their questions by typing into the chat. Having said that, let's open up tonight's practice text. Lo and behold, this is a Word document. Now, if you decide to download the free version and all I'm all tongue-tied. All class materials are free. They're found in PDF form on the download page, whose link can be found in the description area below the video. But all the PDFs are formatted to be read upon a smartphone in the horizontal position. If you're going to successfully navigate, no less bookmark a PDF on your smartphone, especially one that has more than 200 pages, without losing your mind, you simply must download the free Kindle app for either Android or iPhone. And when you open the PDF in your Kindle, it will ask you, do you want to open it as a Kindle doc or a PDF doc? Choose the PDF doc, because that is what this has been formatted for. Otherwise, it'll be absurdity. It'll be just glibbity glop. The recommended reading for this lesson are the 19th through 24th passages of Tantra's Treasure of Rakthatare. This is my adaptation and explanation of a treatise written by a great Buddhist saint at the very end of his life. Tonight I'm going to pretend that this is your first time joining me. For those of you who are returning, there will be some review, but that's okay because you probably have yet to memorize everything that dribbles out of my mouth. This is our fourth evening exploring the 6 yogas of Naropa. The 6 yogas of Naropa are taught in in all 4 schools of Tibetan Buddhism. The fourth yoga of Naropa deals with death, specifically the transference of consciousness. We shall first look at this literally, the way a fundamentalist would, and then we shall look at it figuratively, which is the way a liberal or one who is involved with matriarchy would look at it. I am in the latter camp, but it's nice to have some context. So, the only thing that is certain is death and taxes. I don't know who said that. If you know that, type it in the chat area below or in the comment area. Perhaps it was Mark Twain. Anyway, we're all gonna die. Now, in the most ancient of teachings, in the numerical discourses of the Buddha, in the chapter on the 11s, there is a section describing the 11 benefits of practicing loving kindness. And one of those benefits is that if one meditates or contemplates loving kindness, one will take an auspicious rebirth. Now that could be seen literally or figuratively, but so there is a precedent in ancient Buddhism and early Buddhism to practice in such a manner as to take an auspicious rebirth. In Mahayana Buddhism, this evolved to making offerings to Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light, and also chanting his name and meditating upon his name extensively. There is great debate as to whether the Buddha actually taught that or not. So what the fourth yoga of Naropa is a technique to ensure an auspicious rebirth. And here is the rationale from the literalist, fundamentalist, patriarchy point of view. When one's very subtle mind when one's body is in the process of dying, one's senses begin collapsing inward like the closing of an umbrella. And it's very swift, and it can be very disorienting and very frightening. And in our fear, we can slip into our grasping mind, which is highly inauspicious, and take a very inauspicious rebirth. This is from the fundamentalist worldview, by the way. And so, as an antidote to that eventuality, many yogis train regularly, every day, in ejecting their consciousness up their central channel, out their crown, into either the Pure Land, the vast expanse, the heart of their yadam, their real or imagined archetype of enlightenment, or their teacher, living or dead. Now that I've said this, from the point of view of matriarchy, from the point of view of yin, from the point of view of being a liberal, we do not know if there is a birth after this birth. After this life, there may be an extinction of consciousness. We do not know. But one thing is for certain, that this technique, when applied in times of great stress, instantly helps one to experience what some would call a mental margarita. Instantly find at least a moment or two of serenity and peace and enhanced resourcefulness. And if in that moment one then practices the essential meditation, spontaneous awareness meditation that we will go through in tonight's class. And then one can take even the most gruesome, disturbing, jarring of experiences and benefit from it profoundly. Oopsie, sorry, microphone. Profoundly. The liberal would say, this is a fun technique to play with just because it acts as a support for spontaneous awareness meditation. Yes, it can be abused as an escape, because unless something is profoundly jarring, it's good just to face our monsters. In Tibet, there is a tradition of sending superstitious students into the charnel grounds at night so they can sit with their fear. And by fear, what I really mean is terror, and meditate. And a foolish student would meditate on just taking refuge or treating their real or imagined archetype of enlightenment as a god and begging for their protection. A middle level student would use this great fear they're experiencing as an excuse to practice the compassion that seeks to free everyone else from fear and from danger, and to give everyone peace and safety. And the highest level student would sit with their fear and explore the non-graspability of the real or imagined dangers, the sensation of fear, and our bodies that experience fear, and our minds that experience fear. So the highest training is, from the liberal point of view, is that of training in the wisdom of letting go. But there are times, like for instance, when you're dying, when many people just want to make sure they're able to go through the death process with lucidity, with mindfulness, and the ability to let go. Now, if there is a next rebirth, that will assure an auspicious one. If there isn't a next rebirth, and we've got to make an exit, then at least that'll ensure that our exit will be peaceful and lovely. One of the late teachers of the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, used to say, yes, life is a dream, but life can be a nightmare, or life can be a very good dream. Let us meditate in such a way to ensure that our life is a very good dream. Oh, where is my Kleenex? I feel a sneeze coming on. Hold on. I'm a barrel of monkeys, eh? Okay. So, an additional... Well, okay, we'll come to this in a few minutes. So, we're going to explore two versions of this. An external one that's verbal and involves a physical gesture, and one that is completely silent and mental. So the physical one has a verbal component, the other one is completely silent. And we're going to alternate. We're going to go verbal, and then spontaneous awareness meditation, and then silent, and then spontaneous awareness meditation. And don't worry, I'll take you by the hand through every step of the process. I'll lead you home from Mordor, back safe and sound to the Shire. Now, fundamentalists of every ilk are fond of threatening those who dare to break with tradition, or from tradition, with the fires of eternal hell. And Buddhist fundamentalists are no different. There's great money to be made by extorting frightened students into paying for teachings. But the greatest saints agree that such thoughts are rubbish. These teachings are open to all, or at least they should be. When practiced correctly, they're beneficial. Anything can harm you. I mean, you can put your eye out with a tube of toothpaste if you're determined. But if you're smart, if you're sane, if you're mature, you'll be safe. So let's get right to it. We begin with the verbal transference of consciousness meditation. Now, the fundamentalists are fond of elaborate visualizations and elaborate preparatory practices, ritual and physical and yogic and esoteric. We're going to take this simple. You don't have to visualize a central channel running from your abdomen, parallel to your spine, just in front of it, entering your skull and brushing against the top of your crown. You don't have to visualize your mind as a syllable tom or as a letter T in the region of your heart in that channel. You don't have to imagine it shooting up like an arrow up the channel and out through your fontanelle into the great expanse. You don't have to do any of that. If all you do is silently and mentally recite during the in-breath, mind shoots out crown, that's enough. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to feel it. You don't have to see it. The power of words is that they guide intention, and intention guides imagination, whether or not the conscious mind perceives the machinations of imagination is irrelevant. At the very top of the screen, we see the heading, verbal transference. On the left, in smaller font, we see what I like to call contemplative notation, which is very much like musical notation. So observant inhalation tells us that during the in-breath, we are going to silently and mentally recite, mind shoots out crown. Whoops, there goes the connection to Instagram. Now, this is, you've heard me use the phrase twice now, silent and mental recitation. That's the opposite of a verbal recitation. We're not using our vocal cords or our jaw or our lips. We're silently and mentally reciting words. We're feeding these 4 words to our inner monologue, our inner narrator. It could be our voice or the voice of a celebrity, Rod Serling, Sigourney Weaver, Samuel Jackson, whoever you wish. Now, this is unique. On the out breath, we're going to fiercely exclaim the syllable pay. So in English, the P and the H have an F sound. But when transliterating from the Sanskrit, the H is an aspirate. So instead of being pay, it's pay. Can you hear the difference? This is without the aspirant, pay, and with the aspirant, pay. It's absurd. It doesn't really matter, but that's how it's practiced. Now, as we do this, you'll notice on the right, we have some instructions. Snap fingers overhead. I like my hand upstretched, so my elbows even with my skull, my hands about 18 inches above my skull, and we snap. We snap while exclaiming pay. Now we're going to do this for 1 set of 4 breaths. Many years ago, I was taught Bengali crease counting. Or I should say I was taught crease counting by an aging Bengali. We count our sets in our left hand, our repetitions in our right hand. So we're going to start by touching the tip of our thumb to our left little finger and slide it down to the left little finger's lower set of creases. Right there. We're going to rest both hands palm up upon our thighs, upon the respective thighs, head over shoulders, shoulders over pelvis, feet flat on the ground, assuming you're sitting in a chair. We're going to count the 4 repetitions upon the 3 sets of creases of our right little finger, 1, 2, 3, and its tip. We're going to advance the the right thumb during our in-breath. Now, of course, this is how we would normally do it, but we're going to be snapping our fingers. So, right hand's going to be, put your right hand in the air like you just don't care. Okay, so, mind shoots out crown, pay. We're going to do that 4 times, and you're going to feel a little spacey. That's because part of your subtle energy will be above your head as opposed to where it is right now. For most of us, it's scattered like the character Pigpen from the Peanuts cartoons. But it'll be coalesced and above our head, at least for a few minutes. And then we will practice spontaneous awareness meditation to really capitalize on this, to really make the most of it. Here we go. Bay. 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 On the in-breath, silently and mentally recite, notice this. On the out-breath, silently and mentally recite, relaxing. We begin counting on our right ring finger. In the Dzogchen tradition of Tibetan Tantra, many saints practice this throughout their lives just to aid their meditation. This is also practiced by Kagyus and Gelags for the same reason, not just to prepare for death, but also just to help them when they're in their meditation, they're getting drowsy or they're far too scattered. One time, I was walking by a gas station, and there was a homeless fellow in great distress. I asked him if he would if I may please give him a couple moments of peace, and he said, "Yes, please, I would like that." So I warned him ahead of time. I said, "What I'm going to do is stare, gaze into your eyes. I'm going to hold my hand over your head, and I'm going to loudly say or utter the syllable pay. It'll give you a break from your turmoil. May I do this?" Because I didn't want to scare him, make him think he was being attacked. So I did this, and he felt great. He felt very resourceful. Clearly, this was not a panacea for all his life's problems, but it gave him a moment, a moment's vacation from the turmoil. Sometimes people really need this. This is what I like to call a Lama trick. Now let's practice the gentle, gentle, silent version. We're going to advance the tip of our thumb upon our left little finger to the middle set of creases. Just like that. On the in-breath is exactly the same. Mind shoots out crowned. Out-breath, it's relaxing. We're going to be counting upon 4 breaths upon our right little finger. This time it's in our lap. There's no snapping. Mind shoots out crown. Relaxing. And now, just like before, the spontaneous awareness meditation. Some people call this Zen. Some people call it Shan. Some people call it Mahamudra. Some people call it Mahasandhi. Some people call it Ati Yoga. Some people call it Dzogchen. Some people call it Treksho. It doesn't matter what you call it. Some people call it watching the play of mind and relaxing it to its non-graspable nature. You'll notice that on the in-breath, we're using the deliciously vague pronoun this. And this applies to whatever we notice. But not what we concentrate on actively, but whatever we passively notice vulnerably. Whether it is a sensation or a flavor or a scent or a sight or a sound, whether it is an emotion or an intention or a thought or a recollection or an imagination. Whatever we experience, real or imagined, pleasurable or painful, glorious or grotesque, if we must label it, then we label it with the word this. Notice this, relaxing. Let's count upon our right ring finger. Let's continue on our right middle finger. Notice this, relaxing. And let us count upon our right index finger. The Dalai Lama wrote a commentary on this Dzogchen practice. I assure you I am not making this stuff up. That concludes tonight's practice. When you play with this, hopefully 5 minutes every morning and 5 minutes every evening, for at least 7 consecutive days, do that before passing judgment on this practice. But when you do it, some questions will occur to you. And I invite you to bring those questions to me, either through a direct message on Instagram or as a comment upon one of my videos on YouTube, or during tomorrow's live stream, again on YouTube. I look forward to helping you traverse the Buddha's path of freedom. Until next we speak. Oopsie, getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to minimize the practice text and adjust the application I'm using. If you have found value in these live streams or podcasts or blog posts or class materials, numerous and free, then I invite you to use the link below to support this channel monthly. Now, if you cannot do that, there are some free things you can do to support this channel. You can click subscribe. You can click the bell icon to receive notifications when I post content. You can click the like button and type a comment. These 4 things done in concert really help with the algorithm. And by way of cultural reference, in the Tibetan tradition, monks are not supported by monasteries. Monks must find support from those who they teach and from random patrons. So I assure you, my request for your assistance is not out of greed. It is the way of the Tibetan Lamas. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy.